Hello there, this is Beth Gaff, and I am the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I just want to let you know that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can go away from this, come back to this later, pause this, minimize this at any time. You're under no obligation to sit through one setting at any point. You also want to be sure that if you're a part of the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program, that you want to be listening for that secret code that's inside of this class so you can get markdowns for prizes and such. You just want to either email me, call me, come in and see me. Either way, we can get you all marked down. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just give me a call here at the library and we can get you all set up. I have designed this class because I do the one-on-one appointments with several people, and I'm finding that this is a lot of the stuff that I'm doing within those one-on-one appointments. So I've decided to make a class geared toward some of those things that you guys have been asking me about when we meet one-on-one. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to Mastering Basic Computer Skills. So this is going to be some of the stuff that we're going to cover in the class today. We're going to talk about your mouse and things that your mouse can do, what those different cursors look like. Along those same lines with your mouse is the dragging and the dropping. That's using your mouse, so we're going to go over some techniques that involve that. We're going to talk about keyboarding and some typing tips that can help you out when you're trying to learn how to type a little bit better, and maybe you're trying to get your words per minute up, so that will help. We're also going to talk about opening and closing software applications, so we're going to get more into that. A lot of you do it all the time and probably don't even realize what it's called or what you're doing, so I definitely want to make sure that you understand what you're doing and understand some of that jargon that goes along with it. We're going to talk about accessing your CD or your DVD-ROM from the drive. When you put in that disk, sometimes the computer doesn't always pull up that box to let you know it's in there. So how can you find it, and how can you get into it, and how can you start doing things with it? So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about creating and renaming folders. Everything in your computer allows you to create folders in there to get yourself a little bit more organized. Sometimes we find after we've created these folders that we want to use them as something else, so that's where the renaming comes into, and we're just going to be talking about that overall and in general. Also want to let you know about finding documents and folders on your computer. If you've put things in places and you're not sure where they are, there's everything on your computer is searchable, so you would be able to find it, and a lot of people aren't aware of that, so I want to definitely touch base with you on that. We're going to talk about how to locate and open saved files. And we're going to talk about the copy, cut, and paste feature from one location to another. We're going to be really talking about using that right-click in this class. A lot of these pertain to your right-clicking, and I want a lot of you to start getting in the habit of using it because it really is going to save you a lot of time in the long run. And last but not least, we're going to talk about sending an email with an attachment. And we are not going to be going into Facebook in this class. However, I do plan on doing some of the mastering basic internet type things, and social media would definitely be included in that. But for now, this is what we're going to be covering for mastering basic computer skills. This way you can get yourself a little bit more organized, and we're going to start the introductory to the basic internet part of it as far as mastering that by doing those email attachments. Other than that, most of the stuff we're going to be doing today does not involve the internet, so you wouldn't need it. However, we are going to touch a little bit base at the end, which just kind of gets us ready for the next part, which would be the basic internet and being able to master some of those basic internet skills. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we're going to talk about your mouse in the next slide, and then that dragging and dropping goes along with it. Alright, so now we're going to talk a little bit about your mouse and how it's going to be able to help you. The mouse gives you control over your computer. With the mouse in your hand, you can cause the on-screen arrow to move around your computer display. It is based on the point and click philosophy. You move your mouse to a point where you want something to happen, then you click to make that event take place. Sometimes you click once, sometimes you click twice, and sometimes you hold down the mouse while your event is happening. So for instance, if I take you back to our PowerPoint class, we can see here the different kinds of cursors that you can have within it. Most mouse devices give you two opportunities for clicking. There are both right and left areas to depress or push. The left area is generally used for issuing some kind of a command to your computer. And the right-clicking portion of your mouse would allow you to access special menus. So we're actually going to be talking about that within your class. When you use your mouse for word processing, you will find that it sometimes changes shape. Please look at the example here that I have for you. These are all different kinds of shapes that might be affiliated with your mouse and the cursor. So you want to definitely pay attention to those. By default, there is a white arrow that points to the left or to the right. You can see there's my arrow right there. By pressing down on the left mouse twice, that allows you to double click and open something. So let's take a look. So let's say that we wanted to get into Microsoft Office. So we would double click, and that opens up our Microsoft Office for us. And let's say now I want to work with Microsoft Excel. I would double click, and now it would bring up Microsoft Excel for me. So that is part of the command of using it. Generally, you would double click to open an on-screen object. Sometimes it's only a single click though, and you can go in and change those settings in your computer. So if you go to your start menu, either My Computer or Computer, then you would be able to change some of those objects through some of the settings that are in there. We are not going to do that during this class right now, but I'm just letting you know that that is an option. Sometimes the mouse makes things happen simply by moving around the screen. A mouse over occurs when an on-screen image changes. So we're going to take a look at that right now, what a mouse over is, and let's get in here with our, let's actually open up Microsoft Word. And this is a really great example, and I'm just going to type something simple. If I left click on my mouse and I leave it left click and I drag it across, I'm able to highlight this area, which allows me then to do and manipulate with it what I choose. This is called a mouse over, and that is when I can just put my mouse on top. I'm not even pushing anything, and I can actually see instant results. So we can see over here in this area that every time I put my mouse on one of these font sizes or styles, then it's changing right before my eyes, and I don't even have to apply it. It's just showing me that. That's what a mouse over is. The same thing would work with your font size and even into your colors. And that's what a mouse over is, and that's what a mouse over does. So this section here, we talked about a little bit about your mouse, double clicking, single clicking, highlighting those areas, and using the mouse over. So what I'd like you to do right now is go ahead and minimize this video, get yourself into a Word document, or just get yourself onto your computer all the way around, and try double clicking to open yourself up some kind of a program. Or you can get into some of your file folders that you've got in here and try the single click that allows single click actions. And then you have other ones that allow you to double click, and then you can open those up. So go ahead right now and give that a try. Alright, we are going to elaborate a little bit more on the mouse, and we're now going to touch base a little bit about the dragging and dropping. Drag and drop refers to manipulating objects on a computer by using the mouse. Drag and drop objects by doing certain things. So you actually what we're going to do is I'm going to get you on a website, and it is called seniornet.org, and this allows us to learn some of that placing of the mouse, clicking of the mouse, dragging and dropping. Yeah, dragging and dropping and drawing with the mouse. So basically I'm just going to push on my very first one, and here it says that I need to place my mouse on top of these numbers until they disappear. And we can see that they are doing this. This is great for the mouse over exercise that we had just done a moment ago. It gives you a great feel of where exactly placement would be for the mouse. And when we feel confident with that, we can just hit next to move on. Now this time they want you to place the mouse over the numbers in order, and now they're beginning to disappear. So there you go, and when we're done with that, then we can push on next. So now that you're comfortable with placing the mouse and the pointer on a different spot, the next thing we're going to do is left click on these different areas, and these are just single clicks, and it allows me, and I can push on those however many times I need to get my point of what I'm trying to do with the single clicking. So we can hit next there, and now we're going to try to double click on this circle. If you don't do it right, then it'll say try again. Once is not enough. I'm doing that on purpose just so you can see. If I double click on it, then it says twice is double the fun, and I've done the right thing. So it just keeps going on and on and on. You practice using the mouse. This is your drag and drop. That's what we were talking about in this section. And right now they're not real picky. They just want us to pick up the trash and put it inside of the can. So that's what we're going to do. So right now it's not a big deal. I can hit next. Well, now they're getting a little bit more picky. They want it. If I try to do that again, it's not going to work for me. I actually need to bring it in over and on top of the can. And this is how the dragging. Now I'm left clicking on these objects, and I'm not letting go until I get it where I want it, and then I'm letting go. So you want to keep a hold of it when you do that. So now we need to put it through the loop and into the trash can. So that's what we're going to do, through the loop into the trash can until we get them all in there. And again, this is just holding my left click down, not letting go until I get to my destination, letting go at my destination, and now I have completed that. Now I need to drop my numbers in their proper locations. Again, this is just left clicking and dragging them over. That's where you get your drag effect from. And I'm just putting them in there to make it a little easier. And now I'm an expert, and you can be an expert too. Now we're going to talk about drawing. We can push on our red, and I can write my name. I can clear it. Maybe I want to write something special to you. Things along those lines. And actually this would be a great point for me to tell you that your code for the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program is this. Oh, I wanted blue. Colors don't matter, but you just need to get me this code, drop and drag. So give me that code, and you'll be on your way to some great prizes and so forth. So there's your code for the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program. So now something else that I want to go into is actually using some of the highlighting features and the dropping and the dragging into folders and so forth. So if I am in Microsoft Word and I have just created myself some sort of a document, I am just going to label it document. Let me make this bigger. And now I'm done, so I need to save this. Oops, well, that'll work. I want to save this as some sort of a document. Looks like I have plenty of documents I can work with. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to open up one of my documents that I have. Notes page. So here's my notes page, and that's not really going to do what I want. So let me get to some Microsoft Office shortcuts. So here's our shortcuts, and now I am actually able to left click and drag it across. I can now change my font styles if that's what I want to do. And we talked a little bit about this already, being able to see those changing right in front of you and things along those lines. Now, if I wanted to put my document into a folder, so let's say I want to save this, and I'm going to, I don't really have a file, I'll just put it in here. But let's say that I need to go find one of my files and I need to move it somewhere else. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, okay, this is the folder I need to transfer over. My best bet is to go ahead and minimize this section, get myself back to where that was. There's my form. And let's say that I have my class examples or whatever you have on here, some type of a folder. Then I can grab a hold of my file, and I'm keeping it left click, and then I'm able to drag it in. Now notice when I do let go, it lets me know. Right now it's saying copy to desktop, and you can see it coming right off of that, but I don't want it in there, I want it in my folder. And now it says copy to class examples. So then I could let go and it would be in there. So if I double click on this folder, I now have that form in there. Okay, so it's just a matter of getting yourself into a habit of pulling something from one location and putting it into another location. And again, it's not real hard. It's just a matter of left clicking, not letting go, putting it where I want. Now, your computer will always tell you where it's putting something. You just have to pay attention to where it's telling you. I meet with a lot of people on a daily basis that swear that they've created a file for themselves. They've even created a folder to put it in, but they just can't find where it went. Well, that's because they dragged it over and they didn't really pay attention to where it was letting it go at, and it ended up in a location where they weren't able to locate it. So what you want to do is definitely get a hold of whatever it is that document is. Maybe it's a picture, maybe it's not a document at all. So let's get into our pictures real quick. Here I've got my pictures, and I still want them in this folder right here. So I can just left click, bring it over. Right now it wants to move it to my desktop, but I don't want it there. I actually want it in my folder, and it's telling me it's going to move it to that particular folder. So it's just a matter of paying attention to what you're doing on your computer of where it's going to put those items for you. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video, find a folder that's already created, because we're going to go into creating and renaming folders here in a little bit. Find a folder that's already created and drag some items over into it. You can always move them back out and put them where they were to begin with, but pay attention to where the computer is telling you that it's going to move it. Now, one other thing that I want to tell you about is if you are in Microsoft Word and you are creating a document, and let's say I'm ready to save, I'm all done, I go to save as, by default it's going to want to save it in my documents. That doesn't mean that's where you have to have it, okay? You can put it anywhere you want. You just need to locate wherever that file is. So if I want to put it in class examples, but I don't want to drag it over, I just want to put it there, I know that this particular folder is on my desktop. So I'm going to click on desktop, and this is your desktop where all these icons are. And now I'm looking for the folder labeled class examples. Here it is. And now there's that form I drug over there earlier, remember? And now I'm able to save that and put it right in there. So if I go into my class, there's my document that I just saved. So practice some of that, putting it in there, dragging it over, saving it and locating your folder that you want it to go into. If you need any further assistance on this, or you just want to go over it with me, please feel free to call me. That's what I'm here for, and I would love to sit down with you and we can just drag and drop all day long. But for now, go ahead and minimize this video, get yourself into a document, find one of those folders or pictures or something that you've created, and get them into different folders and start moving them around. Now we're going to talk about some keyboard and typing tips. Mistakes happen quickly on the computer keyboard because of its sensitivity. The keyboard offers both challenges and rewards. Those rewards come after a bit of practice and study to take advantage of what the keyboard gives you. Mostly those advantages will be learned through practice and additional instruction. So at this point, we're just going to kind of touch base on this keyboard here that's in front of us, and we're going to go through some of the highlights of what the keyboard is and what it does for us. So this here in the upper left hand corner of your keyboard is your escape key, and this allows you to stop a function or action. So for example, if a web page is taking too long to load, you can press the escape key to stop loading it. You can also press the escape key to get yourself out of programs. So if you're in the middle of a PowerPoint and you're trying to show a PowerPoint, you could hit the escape key and it's going to take you back to the function that allows you to edit. So it never hurts just to kind of play around with the escape key. It's not going to hurt anything on your computer whatsoever. Then you have your function keys, and these keys are normally labeled F1 through F12. Some programs use these keys as shortcuts for common tasks. So for example, in many programs, F1 opens that help file. You've also got some of those keys that will control your sound, your brightness, be able to flip your screen between projector and things along those lines if you're trying to project out from it. But you can always get online onto Google and you could look up your function keys and it'll tell you which ones go with what. Some of the newer computers that have come out have pictures on the F keys or the function keys, just to kind of show you which each one of them do. I highly recommend trying them, playing around with them. You're not going to hurt anything on your computer at all. They're there for a purpose. So just knowing a little bit more about them is probably a good idea. The print screen, the scroll lock, and the pause break section is in the upper right hand corner of the keyboard itself. What's nice about the print screen is that it actually takes a picture of your screen, which is also called a screenshot. This way later on you could edit it, you could use it as a graphic for a program, however you're wanting to use it. What's nice about it is that you hit the print screen button, you're not actually going to see anything happening, but once you take it somewhere to a document or wherever you're trying to put it into and you paste it, you'll see it right away. So don't get upset if you hit the print screen and nothing happens, because that's its job. You have to tell the computer where you want that screenshot to go. Now, as far as the scroll lock and the pause break button, we're not going to really talk too much about that because they're rarely used anymore, and most of your more common keyboards today don't even have them on there, just the print screen, because it is a great function. But the scroll lock and the pause break aren't anything that's really being used in common use today, so we're not even going to really talk much about that one. Your tab button is a really good button for you to get familiar with. It's used to create indents in word processing programs. So if you're typing a letter or if you're writing up something that has paragraphs in it that require you to indent, that would be a good thing for your tab button. Also, a great thing for the tab button is being able to fill out forms online or any kind of filling out process, whether you're creating yourself an email or whatever it may be. You can use the tab button to get you from field to field. So if it starts you with last name, you could type in your last name, hit your tab button, and it'll take you over to the next box that'll allow you to put your first name in. This kind of stops you from having to use the mouse as much to get to those fields to put in that information. So the tab button's a really good button to get familiar with. You've also got your alphanumeric keys. This is the main part of the keyboard that includes all your letters and your numbers, and of course the space bar to get the spaces between our words. So getting familiar with the keyboard is a really great idea. This way you have a better understanding of when you're typing things where letters are placed. Nice thing about keyboards nowadays is back in the day when we were taking keyboarding classes in school, if you remember those days, we weren't actually using computers keyboards, we were using typewriters. And what's nice about it now is that those keys, they haven't changed them. They're still in the same place they were when you were typing letters back on the word processing typewriter or the old standard typewriters. They've taken those keys and they've put them on the keyboard typewriter now for the computer. So those keys are in the same spot. So that's kind of nice. That way you don't have to relearn things. Another one would be your backspace, and this allows you to erase characters to the left of the cursor. So if you're at the end of a sentence and you've just got done typing it, and you realize that, a few letters in you've misspelled something, you could use your arrow key to get you there, or you could just backspace and retype everything. Playing around with your backspace is a good idea, as well as your tab, your escape, your print screen, and of course the alphanumeric keys. Those would be good ones to get to know as well. Another section that we're going to talk about is your cursor control keys, and the cursor control keys can vary, but they will usually include the following. You're usually going to have delete, which erases the character to the right of the cursor, whereas the backspace does it to the left, the delete does it to the right. The insert button, this switches between insert mode, which inserts as new text without deleting anything, and you can use the overtype mode, which deletes text after the cursor as you type. So by pushing that insert button, you're basically telling the computer, I want to insert words here, and I don't want anything to go away. I just want to insert them in. If I don't have it pushed, then it's going to automatically, as I'm typing, it's going to type over wording and lettering that I've already put in there, and then I'm going to have to retype what I've already done. So just pay attention to if you have the insert on or if you have it off when you're ready to go in there and do those things. The home and end, these move the cursor to the beginning or to the end of a current line. So if you're working with a sentence and you want to get back to the beginning because you realized maybe you needed to indent, or there's some words that are misspelled, or there's grammar issues, or whatever the issue may be, by pushing the home button, that's going to take your cursor back to the beginning of that line. Pushing the end button is going to take it to the end. So if you've already pushed it to go home and it's at the beginning, you may not want to use your arrow keys to scroll through there to get you back to the end. You can just push end and then the cursor automatically goes back to the end, which is kind of nice. You also have your page up and your page down. These scroll a document or a web page up and down. So that's kind of nice. So if you haven't had a chance to play around with some of those features, please do, because they're really going to help you out in the long run. This is our numeric keyboard. Let me see if I can get us a little bit better an angle. There we go. This is our numeric keyboard, and it resembles a calculator keypad. Many users find it a lot easier than typing the numbers at the top that you have above your alphanumeric keys. Some keyboards, these keys double as arrow keys. So I always use my numeric keypad anytime. If you are trying to use it and it's not working, more than likely it's because you have your number lock key pushed, and it usually says NUM lock. If you push that, you should be able to use those numbers no problem. As a default though, as soon as you turn off your computer and you go to turn it back on, it's probably going to not have that number lock pushed in automatically. It probably won't. So you'll probably have to push it every time you turn on your computer if you're wanting to use the numeric keypad. There's nothing wrong with using those numbers across all the alphanumeric keys. However, this is a little bit nicer since we're all kind of used to the calculator and the way the calculator works. Your arrow keys are used for many different purposes, including moving the cursor, scrolling a document, and controlling a game. So if you're playing a game online and you need to be able to move up and down and get your people around, that's what your arrows would be good for. If you're noticing grammar errors, spelling errors, or anything like that in documents that you're typing, you can use that arrow key to get you right to the location, and then you'd be able to fix those issues. Also, if you're in something that allows scrolling, you can try using the up and down, left and right to get you through a document and scrolling around. So those are kind of fun. So if you hadn't had a chance to play around with your arrow keys, I would give it a try just so you are a little bit more familiar with the way that they work. The enter key carries out commands. So for example, while you're on the internet, you can type a website address and then just press enter to go to the site. It is also used to start a new line in a word processing program. A lot of times if you're just typing things in general, you can hit enter and it'll just take you straight there if you're on the internet. So if you haven't had a chance to kind of play around with your enter key, today would be a great day to learn. So I highly recommend trying a lot of those features. And last but not least, we have the Control, Alt, and Shift. The Control, Alternative, and Shift keys are designed to work in a combination with other keys. So typically you hold down the Control, Alt, or Shift and then type another key to perform a specific task. So for example, in many programs, typing Control S will save a file. Keyboards that are designed for Macs have a Command key, which is often used instead of the Control key. So if you have a Mac and you don't have a Control key, you probably have what's called a Command key, and it's very similar to that. Being able to copy things, like if you are transferring pictures over and you want to get more than one of them at a time to get over, pushing on one of them to get you started, and then pushing the Control key and keeping it pushed down as you click on each picture that you want will help you. That way, if you don't have pictures that are right next to each other that you want, maybe you have 3 pictures on line 1 that you want, 3 pictures on line 5, this would allow you to be able to scatter them and be able to copy them without doing a bunch of them at one time. You can just grab a hold of the ones you want. But I don't want to confuse you too much with it. If you need any further assistance with the Control, Alt, and Shift commands, please get in contact with me and I would be more than happy to sit down and assist you with that. So this is the keyboard, and now I want to talk to you a little bit more about some tips with the keyboard. Hold your hand with your thumb on the space bar, first finger on the F with your left hand, and the J on the right hand. Then let your fingers naturally fall so they each rest on top of the next key along the same horizontal line. And I have a picture there to kind of show you what that looks like of the motion. As you type, don't hold down the key after you press it. If you do keep your finger depressed on a particular key, it will keep sending the computer that command. In this case, it will be sending specific commands to repeat itself. So your result will be a string of unwanted characters displayed on screen. And I think this is kind of what they mean. So let me pull up something here. And so for instance, if I am pulling on, instead of just tapping it, and that's what I'm doing right now, if I hold it down too long, you can see it's just going to run right off of there, and that's what it's kind of talking about. So you want your result with a string of unwanted displayed on the characters displayed on the screen. So you only want what you want and you don't want anything extra. Understanding the keyboard also means learning the special functions of certain keys on the computer, which we just talked about. You can often use 2 or more keys at the same time, indicated by the plus sign when you're doing things. So for example, in managing applications, you will learn that Control plus Alt plus Delete is a decision of last resort. You depress these 3 keys simultaneously when you just want to get out of whatever muddle that the computer has left you in. So if I hit Control, Alt, and Delete, and that's what I did right now, you can clearly see that I've ended up with my home screen. And then I hit Escape and I'm back to where I began. Alright, you will see the key marked CTRL. This is your control command in combination with other keys such as Control plus P would print your document, Control plus S would save it. Holding down the Shift key causes the keyboard to print either the uppercase or an alphabetic character or the top character if 2 are displayed on an individual key. So if you wanted to hit your caps button, because we didn't talk about that, your caps button will capitalize everything. But if you just want one letter capitalized, you could just hit your Shift and it'll capitalize that. If I hit my Control, it's going to want to capitalize everything, as you can see there. So I really hope that I have been able to help you out with understanding some keyboard tips. I've got a picture up there that kind of shows you where your fingers should be when you're using the keyboard. We had a fantastic time kind of demonstrating some of it with the keyboard demonstration that we had. So why don't you right now go ahead and just pause this video and just take a look at your keyboard. Take a look at its functions. Take a look of everything it has. Pull up a document like this if you have one in Microsoft Office or OpenOffice or Google Docs, whatever you use, and just start to get yourself familiar with the keyboard and how it works. I wanted to include those keyboard shortcuts that I told you that I was going to include into the class. Here to the left we can see that this is Windows 8. Those bunch of little square button, that's called your Windows key. If you look down at your keyboard right now, you'll be able to see that Windows key, and it's just letting you know that if you add that Windows key to the other item listed, that this is the command that you'll get with that. The other side there is the Windows command that gets you that cut, copy, and paste like we had done, being able to underline text and things along those lines. So these are really, really great things to get used to. Keyboard shortcuts can save you a lot of time. So if you haven't, go ahead right now and minimize this video and get yourself into some type of a document or something that allows you to use some of these features, the cut, copy, and paste, and the strike through, and the double spacing of lines. Even if you're on Windows 8, go ahead and get yourself familiar with open up that Charms bar and using some of the features inside of the Charms bar. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about opening and closing software. As you learn more and more about computing, you will also become familiar with jargon. The jargon of any discipline just means the particular words that have specific meanings in this context. Software and hardware are two of the most frequently used computer jargon words. Hardware is the physical, touchable computer itself, the keyboard, disk drive, monitor, etc. Software is made up of the instructions that tell the hardware what to do. You may have heard about Microsoft Word or Excel. This is software. This is a software program that allows you to create and edit text documents. Software may also be called an application. To open an application on your computer, you would first click on the Start menu found in the lower left-hand corner of the computer. And I have it there in picture 1 to show you where that start menu. Now if you're working off Windows 8, you should still have some sort of a start menu there from your desktop that you can use. In the left-hand column, you will see your most recently used applications. The list at the right shows applications from 4 of the largest vendors, Microsoft, Macromedia, the Adobe, and AOL, as well as from a small independent company, Capture Easy Pro. Windows provides this list so that you can easily access your favorite software. Each user's list is unique and reflects the software installed on that particular computer. If the application you currently want is on the list, then double-click to open that particular piece of software. Many times, however, you will find that the desired application is not in the favorites group. When that happens, you have to navigate to your desired piece of software. Say, for example, that you want to open Excel, the very popular business program for creating electronic spreadsheets, but you notice it is not currently in the favorites program. All you would then click on would be the All Programs, and it's there at the bottom of that picture for you. Once you push on that, flipping to picture number 2, this brings up a list of program categories such as the one that you see here in picture 2. As you study this list, you note that Excel is still not available to you. The reason for this is that the system software categorizes its programs automatically. In this way, it is able to keep the overall list to a manageable size. Now, study this list again. Since you know that Excel is one of the programs that is included in Microsoft Office application suite, you can conclude that you will find the Excel program in there. You access that particular program group by clicking on the solid black arrow to the right of the words Microsoft Office. And we can see that there in picture 3, which is next to it. Whenever you see one of these little arrows, it tells you that there is an additional menu of choices available. Anytime you see arrows like that, it doesn't have to just be in this particular situation. Anytime you see arrows like that off to the side, it just means there's more to it. Next, you're going to move your mouse over the arrow. Don't click, just move your mouse. A new menu appears giving you a list of all the available Microsoft Office programs. So you can see how they've listed them out there for you when it pulls out. Next, you're going to move your mouse over Microsoft Office, Excel, whichever version you have. But you move the mouse wherever the name is contained. So if you're wanting Excel, then you'd put it on Excel. If you want it on this, then you would click on the name, and then the application would open for you. So that's how you access those programs that you can't find. Now, if you're doing something and you need to save your work, and that's where Picture 4 comes into play, after you've completed work in the open application, there are 2 tasks to complete. The first is to save your work. So you're going to go to File, and then you're going to hit on Save, and then you're going to single-click Save. When you have finished the task at hand and saved your file, first do a file close to close the particular file you are working on. Note that this action closes the file but keeps the application itself open in case you want to open another file. So that's all in those pictures 4 there. That shows you how you can save your stuff, close your stuff. Maybe you want to create something new. Maybe you want to save it as something new, something along those lines. So that's what all that does for you there. Exiting and closing is picture 5. You have closed the file, but the application is still running. Sometimes you want to keep the application open because you are planning to open another file. That requires that software. When you do want to close the application, you simply go to File and then hit Exit, and it's at the bottom there. So this is all about opening and closing software to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Why don't you go ahead right now and get into your Start menu, try to find some programs, find some of those arrows that pull out more options for you, and just get yourself familiar with some of the programs and software that you have on your computer right now. Opening and closing software, the process that we went through, is exactly the same thing that you would do if you wanted to find out that CD or that DVD-ROM that you've put into your computer. If it doesn't pull it up automatically for you, you would follow these kind of same steps. You would go to the Start menu and pull up all the information that is on your computer. Then you would go to My Computer, and in there you would find your DVD CD-ROM, and you would be able to double click on that, and it's going to open up that disk for you. A lot of times it gets a little challenging being able to catch those pop-ups when they happen when we first put a disk in and things along those lines. So being able to access it without waiting, or if you've missed your opportunity with that window, is a good idea and a good habit to get into. So along with pausing this and going in and restarting those programs and going in and looking at your programs, I want you to also go into the My Computer section and find your DVD CD-ROM section, and you can even put a disk in so you can see it have the title of what it is exactly that you are trying to upload onto the computer to help your computer out. So that is part of the process of the opening and the closing of software applications, is being able to understand your different libraries that you have, like My Documents and My Pictures and My Music and My Computer and My Recent Stuff, things like that. My Computer is going to show you how much memory you have on it. It's going to show you that DVD, CD-ROM. It's also going to show you anything that you've plugged in, maybe a flash drive, a hard drive, whatever you have. That's where it's all going to be located for you to be able to double click and get yourself access to it. So go ahead right now, pause and minimize this video, and get in there and just get to know your computer. Okay, so now I want to touch base with you on how you can find things on your computer, whether it's folders, documents, whatever you've put on there. Sometimes we think they're where we put them, but then we find out later that they're really not there. So the first thing to get yourself used to, and I'm going to try to make my screen a tad bit bigger here because I want you to see this bottom portion. Down here in the bottom you can see clearly all these items. If I push on this one here, Let me make my image a little larger. This just kind of shows you all of the different libraries and favorites that you have on the computer itself. A lot of people don't know this, but your computer is searchable for everything. So for instance, if I am looking for, and I'm going to put it up here in the corner, if I am looking for some type of document, I may want to search up here where it says search documents, and that's up here in the upper right hand corner. So if I'm looking for my Facebook business list, let's say that I'm doing that and I'm not typing out very well, but you can clearly see that it pulled up my Facebook business list or anything that has those words in it. This way I'm able to find them and I'm able to locate them, and I'm not going to be confused on that. And that works in any section. So if I click on my next section, which is my pictures, you can clearly see I have tons and tons of pictures in here. But let's say that I'm searching for a particular picture. Maybe I'm looking for some type of a logo. I could type in logo, and now I'm beginning to get logos. Anything with the word logo in it is going to pop up. So if I'm searching for something in my music, which I probably don't have anything, I've got some sample music, I can come up here to this same exact spot, and I can search for the song Sleep Away. And you can see how it pulled it right up, and here it is for me, Sleep Away. So then I would be able to get in there. Now this works for anything. So if I'm on my desktop, and let's say that I've put something on here and I can't remember, I can't find it. Sometimes we get so many of these icons on our desktop that we just aren't sure where they're located. This would be a great way for you to be able to find what you're looking for. So if I'm looking for my music folder, I could type in music. Got to type it in right first. And now it's going to bring up anything that involves music and on my desktop. So it brought up that folder for me. And that works in just about, well, it does. It works in everything. So my downloads have its own download search engine. Now let's say that I want to get into the control panel. You can clearly see that my control panel allows for searching as well. So if I want to uninstall a program, it pulls it right up for me. So a lot of people don't realize that everything in your computer is searchable. Not only is it searchable, but everything in your computer also tells you where it's going to put it before it puts it there. So for example, I'm going to close this one out and bring myself up. I'm going to rename this document as my test. Okay? Now it's moved it down here because by default everything needs to be alphabetized. And not only does it need to be alphabetized, but your folders always come before your documents, your pictures, whatever. Folders always come first. Okay? So let's say that I'm going to do something with this test, and I want to move it into, let's say I want to now put it on my desktop. If I left click and I leave my finger left click down and I don't move it and I don't let go until I'm ready for my document to be released, I can put these on top, and it tells me this is going to copy to my apps. Now it's going to copy to my folder. And now I need to get myself back up because it wanted to open them. Now if I put it on top of here, it's telling me it's going to copy to my desktop. I can't place it in there. It's going to move it to my downloads. It's going to move it to my Dropbox. I can move it to my documents, my music, my pictures. So it's just a matter of really paying attention. And before you actually start transferring things over, so here's my computer class file. And let's say that I want to transfer this over to my desktop. And it's telling me it's moving it to my desktop, and I let go. Now if I come up here, there's my document. It's put it right in there for me. And now I have easy access to it, and I can do whatever I want. Let's say that I didn't mean to do that one. I actually meant to put it in the other folder or leave it in there. I can just left click on it, and it tells me it's moving it to my class examples folder. I can let go, and now it is back in its home spot where I took it from. And actually, if I go back in and look, it should put it back in alphabetical order. And it does, because that's a default that it's automatically going to do that no matter whether we like it or not. It's just part of a feature. So I wanted you to be familiar with how to find folders, how to find documents, knowing where they're going to be put before you actually put them somewhere. A lot of people get a little fast and they think they've put it in a certain folder and then they go looking for it and they can't find it. So this is a really great feature to be able just to search your entire computer. And I could do that. I could push on computer, and up here I have my search computer field, and here maybe I want to search for that Sleep Away song. By doing that, it's searching my whole entire computer, and I can see the bar getting bigger up here at the top to show me that it's doing that. And once the search process is complete, then I should start having something with the words sleep and away in it, and more than likely it's going to be that folder that has the song in it. So we're just kind of waiting for this to load right now. But I just wanted you to be able to understand that your computer is communicating to you at all times. Being able to search for things, find things is inevitable. You have to do it. You don't want to get yourself too far out there and too unorganized that you're not sure where things went. So many people that I talk to are like, well, I made that flyer and I put it where I wanted to put it and it's just not there. Well, that's because you didn't pay attention to where it was told you it was going to put it. Here you can see anything with the word sleep and away are in my list, and finally I can get to my song. But it did find it, but by doing the search computer, by doing my search computer, which was up here, this allowed me to search my entire computer. So if you're not sure where exactly, you might want to just default to clicking on computer, and there's that CD/DV drive I was telling you about in the last slide to be able to access it. So go ahead right now and minimize this video, get yourself in there and find some of your programming. Okay, so now we're going to move on to how to create folders, how to rename folders, how to delete folders, and how to get ourselves organized. I've been talking about folders up to this far and how we can find them on our computer and everything's searchable. But how do we really create them? How do we get ourselves organized? You can see here I have a folder here, and I have a folder here, and I have a folder here. There's folders down here as well. Microsoft Office is in its own folder. So how do I make these, and how do I rename these, and how do I create these? All right. This is where your right click is essential. Okay, being able to do anything you want on your computer is the primary goal, so you have the better understanding of how it all works. Right click is your friend, trust me. I know right now up to this point you've probably just been doing everything left clicking, and there's nothing wrong with that except you're missing out on a whole new world. If you have a Windows 8 or maybe you've even updated to the latest Windows 10, then you probably have already noticed that it's a little complicated for you. And most of that is because right click is the major feature that you have to use when you're working with Windows 8 and above. Now, right now we're working off of Windows 7, so it's not too terribly bad, but we still have some great right click options available to us through Windows 7. And this is how it would work in the other programs as well. However, with Windows 8, you should watch my Windows 8 class. Right click is the way to go because that's the only way you're going to get anywhere in Windows 8 besides being frustrated anyways. So I want to create myself a folder, and in order to do that I need to get familiar with my right clicking. So I just right clicked. Right-click's job, and its only job, is to give you a menu. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. I teach a lot of classes, and I have a lot of appointments with people. And once I start introducing right-click to them, then it's, well, do I need to right-click? Should I right-click here? No, the only time you right-click is if you want a menu. And depending on what you're in, is going to decide what kind of a menu you get. Right now I'm on my desktop, and these are the menu options that are available to me on my desktop. If I opened up Microsoft Office and I got myself into Microsoft Word, and I had a document open up for me, and I right-click on this document, you can clearly see that I have completely different options than I did on my desktop. Now, if I go to the internet, and let's get back up here. If I get on the internet and I right-click, again, you're going to be able to clearly see that I'm going to have different options, except it's not working. There we go. So now I've got different options that I can do. Now, is it always going to be something I can use? No. It's not always going to be something that you can use. But it does give you a menu option, and it does give you options in general. So, again, just remember that not everything you're in is going to be the same. So because I'm on my desktop and I want to create a new folder, I need to right-click to give myself some options, because at this point I have no options, and I need to be able to have some. So I right-clicked, and now what I'm creating is a folder, which means that it's completely new. It hasn't been put on here before. I want to start a new folder, so I'm able to create some new organization. So like I was telling you before, anytime you see these little arrows, like we talked about in the class earlier, it just means that there's more to it than that. That's what each one of these little arrows mean. Now, I'm not even pushing anything. I'm just putting my mouse on top, and it automatically pulls those out for me. I don't have to push anything. Right now, my whole project here is to create a new folder. So in order to do that, I would need to be under New. And the first thing on my list is going to be folder. And like I told you before, the main reason for that is because of the fact that folders always come before everything else. So when I start organizing things, I'm going to see that my folders are going to be at the top and my unorganized material is going to be underneath them. So now I'm going to left click, because remember, I only right click if I want an option or I want a menu. Left click applies that action. So now I'm left clicking, and now I have a new folder. When it's highlighted in blue like this, it means that those words aren't permanent. You can start typing at any time, and it's going to take those words out of there. So if I want to make this my test folder, you can clearly see that the new folder that was highlighted in blue has been removed, and what I've labeled it is now there. Now I can left click anywhere on the screen other than on a direct icon. I want to be away from all that, and it takes it. So now I have a test folder that I can do things with. All right. Now, right now I have it in the middle of my screen. It's not very convenient to me. When I'm done using it, or maybe I want to do it from the beginning, I may want to put it somewhere else so that way it's not just in the middle of the screen. You're going to move it around just like you did in dragging things over and dropping things over. You're going to left click on it and don't let go. You don't let go of it until you're ready to drop it where you want it. And I think I want it right there. There you go. That's how you create yourself a new folder. Now, let's say later on I've decided that it's no longer a test folder, that now it is my document folder. So now I can right-click on it. I need to be on top of it, okay? And I need to right-click. And now I'm going to get a menu. And in my menu, I have an option that says Rename. If I click on Rename, now I've got it highlighted in blue again, where if I start typing, it's just going to take those letters out. So I can type in Document, okay? And then I can click anywhere other than on an icon or another folder, and it takes it. So now I have a document folder, okay? Now let's say that you're in the process of creating your folder or renaming your folder, and you've done something like this. Now you don't have a highlight anymore, and now if I start typing, it's just going to add it to those words, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. That's where your backspace is going to come in handy for you. We've already learned that it removes everything to the left of the cursor. So you can see I was able to remove all of it. I was able to remove all of it just by hitting my backspace. That's all I'm hitting right now. Now if I hit home, it takes me to the beginning, and we learned that in prior to class earlier in the first part of class. If I hit end, it takes me to the end. If I hit home, it takes me to home. So if I hit delete at this point, it's getting rid of everything to the right of the cursor. So I could do it from the back or I could do it from the front. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm going to be able to relabel it. And then I can click and it's taken it. And that will just continue to work. Now, if you wanted to delete it, same concept. You're going to right click on it to get yourself that menu. And then you're going to come down to delete and you're going to left click to apply that action. Are you sure that's what you want to do? And yes, it is. And now my folder is gone. All right. Let's work with this a little bit. I happened to notice that when we were doing this, that I have tons and tons of files that are just kind of out in limbo. So this feature works anywhere. It doesn't have to just be on your desktop to create that new and then folder. I can actually do that in my area as well. Right now I'm in documents and I can see that I have a ton of documents. So what I might want to do is right click to get my menu, come down to new because I want to create a new folder, click on folder, and now I have a new folder and I want to label this databases. Left click anywhere other than directly on an icon. I can just click right out of here. And it's put in an alphabetical order for me. Files always come before our extras. So now I can actually grab a hold of this database, don't let go, and I can bring it up here and it tells me it's moving it to database. Well, that's exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to let go and it's moved that in there. Now this is where our control feature on our keyboard would come in handy. Because I don't want all of this in my databases, I only want my databases. I could push on my first one to get me started, push my control key on my keyboard, and now I am able to click on them one at a time. What this is good for is being able to bunch them up together like this or doing random ones. Let's say that I don't really want this one. I want all of them but that one. So I'm able to pick and choose what I want by pushing the control key on my keyboard and just tapping on them with my mouse. And now I can left click on them, don't let go, and it tells me I've got 8 of them in there. I can drag it up to my databases and it's telling me it's moving it to my databases, and I can let go, and now they're all in there except for the one that I left all by itself, which I'm going to go ahead and grab and put in there. So I could just keep continuing that. That was my databases. Maybe I want a new folder now that says desktop. Oops. And that's because I have all these desktop folders. So I'm going to click on my first one to get me started. I'm going to push my control key down. I'm going to keep it pushed down on my keyboard. And I am going to just click on all the ones that say desktop. And now I'm going to left click, don't let go. I've got 8 of them again, and I'm dragging them up to moving to desktop folder. Boom. And I just keep doing that over and over and over and over until I get myself organized and all I have are folders to work from. It's just a great thing to do. That way you don't end up with a list like I do that you're trying to get through and understand and all of that nonsense when we can just organize ourselves from the beginning. Okay, so in closing, just keep in mind that this feature, right click, get you a menu, and to be able to create folders, I can do that anywhere. Anywhere, not on the internet, just on my computer. We're not even talking about internet right now, just computer skills. So why don't you right now, if you haven't tried already, and get yourself familiar with creating a folder, renaming a folder, moving a folder, and putting something in that folder. Now we're going to talk about copy, cut, and paste. Also, we're going to talk about our right-click options, which we've already kind of talked about right-click and what it does and how it gives us a menu. And now we're actually going to apply some of those actions that right-click has for us in this portion of the class. There will be many times when you want to make a copy of the file you are working on, then move that copy to a new location. A file can either be text, a digital photograph, or a graphic image. Using the copy and paste operation leaves the original file where it began, but makes an exact copy of it and places that copy in a new location. You can copy and paste from either an active screen or from a file directory. First, we will consider locating a photograph you want to use, possibly in a report, then making a copy of that photo to paste it into your word processing document. Then we're going to be looking at making copies of the files from the directory. So the first thing we need to do is we need to pull up our Word document, or if you're using OpenOffice, you'll want to pull up the blank document. That's just kind of getting us prepared. So then we're going to come up here and we are going to minimize this because we're not quite ready to use it. You need to get yourself onto your internet, whether you're using Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Firefox. It doesn't really matter, but you do need to get yourself on there. So I'm going to get myself onto Google Chrome by double-clicking. So let's say we're doing a report on German cathedrals, and we need to locate a photograph from Trier, Germany. We're going to want to copy the photo and paste it into our report. So that's what we're going to do now. Right now I have Google Chrome up. So I'm actually going to type in Trier, Germany. And I want to be on Google. I'm not sure why I'm not. So I'm going to get myself on Google. And now I'm going to type in Trier, Germany. And we want cathedral. And we're going to hit images. And now it's going to give us tons and tons and tons of images of the Trier, Germany cathedral. And I did spell it. Oh, they corrected it for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of look through these a little bit and see which one's going to do exactly what we want. And this one's not too bad. It gives you a good view. Now, when you push on this, all right now if I tried to copy this, I don't really have full access to the image because I have all these images above me and all these images below me. So in order to get full access to the image, I would need to click on View Image. And now I have full access to the image, but you can see that I have waterproofs in here. I have a camera here and some 1, 2, 3 stuff here. This may not work for what I'm trying to do. So the back button's really nice to use. We're just going to click ourselves back, close right on out of that. And now we're going to try a different one. Let's see what this one looks like. Looks pretty good. So now here's where our right click comes into play. We're going to go ahead and click on right click because we know that right click is going to give us a menu. And that's what it's done here. And what we need to do now is, if you wanted to save the image, you would go ahead and click on Save the Image. And when you do, a box is going to come up. And it'll probably automatically, well, in this scenario, it wants to put it in your documents. But you could just click on Pictures and you could put it in there somewhere. I'm actually just going to copy it, but if you wanted to keep it forever, then you could save that image as something. We're going to copy the image. I'm going to go back to our Word document, and now we're going to come up here and we're going to click Paste. Now once I've got it in my Word document, you can see that it was very easy for me to get it in there. So first thing we did was we right-clicked anywhere within our photograph. This context, this will give you that sensitive menu. Then we clicked on Copy the Image to make a digital copy of the photograph. The copy will be stored in a special area of your computer and will remain there as long as you have your computer power turned on. So it keeps it kind of within your cursor until you're ready to do something. If you want to copy and paste some text from your document, the process is essentially the same. Simply highlight the text you want to copy, then select Copy from the context sensitive menu, and alternately you could go to the Edit, Copy, or hit Control-C on your keyboard. And we talked about Control-C, but if you wanted to be able to have some kind of wording in here, and I'm trying to get our cursor somewhere, we may want to label this Trier, Germany Cathedral, like so. And let's say that, you know what, I'd really like to have that above my picture. So I can left click, don't let go, highlight my area. And now I can right click on it. Now I have my cut and my copy features. So I could cut this out. What cut does is it just removes it from one location and it allows me to put it in another location. So I'd say I want it right underneath the picture instead. Now I can click paste and it puts it right underneath there. Now, my picture itself, and this would be your Microsoft Word class that you might want to take, but my picture itself isn't really going to move around right now because it's pretty solid. Because I've added a picture, I now have a picture tool, so I can go up and I can click Format. Under the Wrap Text, I can click on Through. And now I am able to pick this up and just kind of move it wherever I want. So that way if I want my Trier, Germany Cathedral on top, I'm able to do that. So there's some extra word stuff in there for you. So then we went to the document and we were able to paste it in there. So we clicked on a certain spot that we wanted it, and then we right clicked and we clicked on paste. Your photograph will automatically be inserted into the area you have selected. As you can see from the image that we just did here. You can paste it directly from the keyboard by holding down the Control key and V. Simultaneously, this process will allow for pasting. So Control V on your keyboard, and I'll actually at the end of this class I'll have a little bit of a shortcut up that you can see that gives you some of those commands. Sometimes you will want to copy an entire file. Perhaps you need to make a backup or to move it into the CD-ROM or some type of other storage device. You can go to the directory where the files live, click once on the file name to highlight it, then click Copy this file from the, and then File and File folder tasks. So let's give that a whirl. So we're going to go ahead and minimize this, and we're going to minimize this, and I'm going to pull this up, and this just kind of shows you all the classes that we have been working on. So if I am in Documents, let's see, if I am in Documents, I should be able... So the process is pretty much going to be the same as though you were doing that in the file. So if I'm on a particular file, let's say that I want to move this, my digital editions, I would click on it. That lets me know that it is active because it's now blue. Now I can right click on it and I have some different options. Here in these options I can cut it out and I can copy it somewhere else, or I could just straight copy it and have my copy in here plus somewhere else. I can share it with people. I can rename it if it's not working out for me. I have different options here that I can do. The difference between cut and copy, cut removes it from one location and allows you to put it in another. Copy just does that. It copies what you already have, so it's not going to take anything out, and it allows you to paste it somewhere else. So now you'd actually have two copies of the same thing instead of one. So making sure you understand all that is what is important. So, cut, copy, and paste, pretty simple. It doesn't take a whole lot. If I decided that I wanted to cut this file out, I could now decide, oh, you know what, I think I want to paste it right in here. And I did that all just by right-clicking. Right-clicking gives me a menu. So from my menu, depending on what I'm on, now if I click here, you see I don't have my cut and copy options. That's because I don't have anything highlighted. I haven't told the computer there's something I want to cut and copy. So first thing I would need to do is highlight whatever I'm working with, and then I would right click on that highlighted feature, and now I have the cut and copy feature. So go ahead right now and minimize this video and just get yourself familiar with cut, copy, and paste. It's not really hard at all. It's just a matter of getting in there, and if you've got a bunch of pictures, you know, you could copy this picture. See how it didn't take it out, and I could put it in my family picture, and then I would right click and I can paste it in there, and now it has pasted it in there right here. So if I would have clicked on cut, it shades it out. I can come up to, I'm just going to go into sample, and now I can paste it in. But if I go back to that picture, you can see that it is no longer in here. It has removed it and it has placed it in the other location. So I'm going to cut it again. and I'm going to paste it back where it was. And it does all this by alphabetizing it. And you can see here that all my folders are first. Like I was telling you before, folders always come before nothings. And to me, nothings are things that are not organized. So I have a bunch of scattered pictures and documents and things all throughout here that don't have any organization to them whatsoever. So that's what my folders are good for. And if we remember, we can right click, click on New, and then folder, and we're able to organize. So go ahead right now and get yourself familiar with the cut, copy, and paste feature and being able to create folders like you were doing earlier. Up to this point, just about everything we've done hasn't really required us to be on the internet. We did get on the internet because we wanted to get a picture image with that cut, copy, and paste feature. However, now we're going to kind of touch base with the internet a little bit because I want to teach you how you can send an email with an attachment. So one of the fundamental uses of email is to share photos and other files with friends, family, or colleagues. But people who are new to email might not yet know how to attach and send files to email. So here are some beginner instructions that might be able to help you. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have an email account. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on Internet Explorer. I'm going to get myself into my email account. I'm going to use actually my Gmail that I have for the stream classes that I do. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself into Gmail there. And now I'm in. If you don't have one, you can actually follow the steps to go ahead and create yourself one. And actually I'll show you that here. If you're signed out and you're not in an email and nothing is in here, you could actually go into add an account and then create an account. Or if you're a first-time user, then you could just push on create an account and it would do that for you. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get myself signed back in, back to where I was. So here I am on my main screen here. And obviously, in order for me to attach an email, I would need to have somebody I'm emailing. So I'm going to need to compose my email. Sometimes the word is there for you. Other times it may just be a square or a box. Let me see if I can find a picture to kind of explain to you what I am talking about. Okay, so I was able to find a picture here, and it may even look something like this, some type of a square that looks like there's a pencil in it. You may not even have something that looks like a document in a pencil. It might just be a square with a line through it. Either way, you just need to get yourself on being able to compose an email, and then you need to put in there who it is exactly you want to send it to. If you have sent an email to them before, as soon as you start typing in their email, then it's going to come down for you, and then you would just be able to click on it. If it's something you haven't sent before, then you would probably have to type in the entire email address. But in this scenario, I'm going to say that I want to send them a photograph attachment. So typically all emails are a tad bit different, however the same. So you're going to want to look for either something that says attach file, or it's going to have a bookmark, or not a bookmark, but a paper clip down there for you to be able to use. Let's see if we look at these pictures, looking to see if what they've got on here. So you can see here that they have that has a attachment on it. Let's get ourselves back to pictures, and so forth and so on. So you're just going to want to find that paper clip, however, or it may even say attach a file. As soon as you push it, you're going to have a window that comes up, and here's where you're going to be able to go locate whatever it is you're wanting to send. So if I'm wanting to send a picture, then I might want to go into the file that my picture is at and find it. So now that I'm in my pictures, now I can choose whichever one I am looking for, and we'll just go ahead and send this one. And I went ahead and double clicked it, and you can see that it's uploading it now. I'm typing my person a message. Here's the picture I said I would send, and then I just click send. So now it tells me my message has been sent. So actually that email is another email that I have. So we're going to go into my other email account, and we're going to retrieve it, and we're going to open it up so you can see how that transfers out pretty well. Here's my email. It was a test. Shows me I have an attachment. I can push on it now. And here within my email, once it gets all loaded up, I have an attachment. I have the option now to download it to my computer or wherever it is I need to send it. So here's that composed. You may have something that looks like that. So let's say that I need to send a response, or maybe I want to send a new one. So I'm going to label this one another test. And here's my paperclip. Now this is a completely different email than I used before, but you can see I still have my compose and I still have my paperclip. So I can push on my paperclip, and let's say this time I want to send a document. And I'm just going to say that I want to send this one. I'm just double clicking and it's putting it right in there for me. You can see it right there. Now I can click, here is the brochure. So now I can click send, and now I can go back and I can check my Gmail if I could type it, and it's going to load it up, and once it all gets sent, and here I am. It's another test. I click on it, and here's my brochure, and you can see that my downloads are a little bit different than what I had before, but this is my brochure and I've received it. So that is how you attach documents. That is how you attach pictures. That is how you attach anything to an email. If you need any more help with that or anything like that, please get in contact with me. I would love to assist you with it. There's no reason to struggle. We can work on that together. So go ahead right now. If you don't have yourself an email, get yourself signed up with email. Send me an email. Send me one. Here, my email is bgaff@ppl.lib.in.us. Send me an email. I love to get emails. I would love to reply to you so you know you're doing it correctly. Send me messages, send me pictures, send me documents. I don't care what you send me. Nobody's going to see it but you and I will get it back to you. So that is the end of our class. Actually, our next slide here is going to be just kind of a little refresher quiz, and then we're going to be all done. But get yourself on there and explore around with your computer, your files, your documents, creating an email, composing an email, sending attachments. All of those things are very important and crucial when it comes to learning how to use your computer. Okay, so now we're going to go over some review questions. I've got them pulled up here, and we're going to just kind of do this together. So by placing your mouse in a particular position, then clicking, all of the following images were discussed except what? We talked about, we didn't really talk a whole lot about any of this, but you're going to see a white arrow, you're going to see a hand, you're going to see a blinking line. We did not talk about the CD-ROM when it comes to that. An on-screen image changes as you right-click, left-click, mouse over, or double-click. I am going to say mouse over. If you keep your finger depressed on a particular key, it will keep sending the computer commands. So that would be the answer for that. We're going to check our answers when we're done. When you press the Control-Alt-Delete key simultaneously, this causes the computer to help a problem. The software application Microsoft Word allows you to create and edit. They've got text documents, spreadsheet files, business graphs, any computer file. It's actually text documents. When clicking on the Start button, then clicking on All Programs button, the All Programs button will what? So when you click on this Start down there in the corner, and then you click on All Programs, it is going to display all the files that are on your computer. That's what it's going to do. Or it might be categories. We'll check that out. A computer can store data on all the following media types except what? You can't save them on inkjet cartridges. That's for your printer. So a floppy disk, USB, or a CD-ROM. One reason to copy files from CD-ROM to the computer hard drive would be having faster access. Sometimes we forget where we saved a file or folder. If this happens, Windows provides search programs, and we talked about that. When copying a file from one location to another causes the original file to be unaffected. It doesn't affect the original file. All right, let's check and see how we did. Oh no, we got a 90. So we missed one. It must be categories, so I was wrong on that one, but the rest of them. So how do you think you did? But this is all over for you. Thank you so much for being a part of the class. You're going to be hearing more praises in the next slide, but I just wanted to take this real quick quiz with you just to see how we were going to do together. All right, well, it's all over. Take a deep breath in and out. You are a computer basic genius. You have mastered it. Thank you for taking the time to take this class. Without you, there would be no reason to have these classes. Take a deep breath. You made it through it. Remember to be listening for your secret code within this class for the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program. You can also join us on Facebook with Tech Talk Technology. One-on-one appointments are free. Taking computers near you. We have a new mobile technology lab coming to the community. Be looking for the library close to you. If you want to watch more of these stream classes, go to www.ppl.lib.in.us, click on the Services tab, and then Classes. Thank you again so much for being a part of the class, and I hope that you learned a lot. Thanks. Bye.